this.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry. I accidentally
Aye. Thank you.
But that's behind us, it don't matter.
And then he walks in, it's a great plate, they both walk to the land, it's great, like really healthy, salmon and all that. It's just all for show. Yeah. All for show. So I tell them,
As we said, he said there's another batch. He said the next batch will be about the same. So they'll have to cut the spine.
Take it over.
Well, we didn't have enough metal to build metal bodies on vehicles. The body was made of wood and sign written angular perimeter. It's only covered 21,000 miles, and the lucky owner of this is Mr. Harris from Somerset, the Wise from Hertfordshire. And just behind him, going back to 1926, is the Austin 12 Ford truck. This was known as the Austin Heavy 12 in the saloon version, but very capable vehicle for the basis of a commercial vehicle as well. There's a nice Trojan Brown, and it's a factory service vehicle kept by the company right up until 1956. Flipside pickup trucks just gone past. That's a beautiful little addition to see here, and very, very typical of American step-side truck styling. Actually found with a tree growing through it, completely restored to the taking samples round, just the same as a little mini pickup is. It's got a load carrying capacity inside the larger drinks can on the back, used in the Somerset for a local caravan workshop, purchased from Northern Ireland and restored, baby sham all over the country, sold to a company in Derbyshire and used as a breakdown truck, and Mr. Max from Chepstow says he is currently restoring it. Right, well, we'll believe that when we see it, but it's a great... Someone looked at it today when I was going past and said it was changed to the beaver tail body, as you see here. Mr. Taylor from Wiltshire. Now something, the heavy recovery, 1950 Scammell Explorer. And this has got quite an interesting history because once it was demolished, and now the Bedford MK tipper. Bedford MK tipper now, and this is Chris and Bertie, who spent most of his working life at Wick Airport in Scotland on runway maintenance. And then it was recapped. Well, you might think it probably didn't need recapping, but working on a runway, keeping the surfaces clear, carrying salted preparations and all sorts of things, it certainly would have done. But just before it was sold, it was recapped, and Mr. West from Dorset now is the proud owner of this one. And this is the 1949 Leyland Auto Tractor. Now, Auto Tractor was made by the Auto Winch Company, who were the initiators of the auto truck that we have seen earlier. And this is the Auto Tractor, but it's a timber tractor, specifically made. It's got an auto winch on there, designed for the winching and removal of heavy timber. And that was brought to us by Mr. Craddock from Wiltshire. 1971 now, Foden Showman Special. It's the S39 Foden. It has a 180 Gardner diesel engine, purchased new by Lloyd's of Ludlow. A 9-inch wheelbase, which we see here, and that's an example of a Series 1 Land Rover. Just not very, very basic, but what the Land Rovers were. They were agricultural goods vehicles, that's what they were intended to be. 227 now is the 88-inch Series 1 station wagon. The Series 1 came out as an 80-inch and then was extended to 88-inch wheelbase. And here we have a 1957 edition, Mr. Hearn from Cambridgeshire. Now here's something which has never been extended, it was always this big. Mr. Crowe from Essex brings us a 1982 Kenworth with the 400 Caterpillar engine. Good to see that our vehicles too, we've got four-wheel drive vehicles out here, they're just not the military ones, but there's the Caterpillar right in front of us. And this was designed for haulage stateside. This is just an articulated tractor. It's as big as the average medium-sized lorry that we see in this country, but there again they've got plenty of room to turn their transport round over there. The little box on the back behind the cab is the driver's accommodation pod, because stateside, they're away from home an awful lot. After the war, running about on their wartime flathead boats and petrol engines, clearing away all the bomb damage from the Second World War. And that's followed by the second tipper from the same, and operated in the same company, but was, excuse me, 1963, the AEC Mercury, new to Down County Council in Northern Ireland, used for road dressing and snow ploughing in the winter. It purchased it, Raymond Wars restored it from, in 2014, and that's Mr. Jackson from Sussex. Now to 1962, Scammell Highwayman. This would have been a petroleum tanker in the first place, judging by the registration, SO or BP, and it was once owned by George Guyot, the showman of Fulham in London. Guyot's was that Showland company who actually painted all their vehicles bright pink. And it's since changed hands. It's owned by Mr. Parker from Surrey. And now number 39 is owned by Alistair Tennant, and it's the fifth generation there of the family involved there, and it's brought in, I believe it's driven, it may be driven by Mr. Tom, his previous lorry. So we had to hunt round and find one that was the same size to fit the bodywork on. It's brought to us by Mr. and Mrs. McGinley from Lanarkshire. 1946, Stoughton Atkinson semi-vomited ballast tractor now. You see the little Scammell that's gone by? Well, one of those Scammells in Pickford specification would have looked very, very similar to this Atkinson that we see going past us now. Only a few of these lorries are left in preservation. We're lucky to have two of following registration numbers too on display here. Two of the pair, they would have been part of the same order by Pickford's direct to Atkinson to supply. That's Mr. Jarvis from Hampshire. And there's a Scammell Explorer, but the Lee family have been coming to Great Dorset Steam Fair with Tigger for quite a few years now. And another regular exhibitor here, Mr. Skinner from Berkshire. And it was rather today as was it when it was new. And it was used to handle the ex-railway 17-gallon milk churns. Big milk churns then, owned by Mr. Skinner from Berkshire. 1927 Genesis. Originally this would have been running on solid AEC. 1964 Commerce with the boys now. New to Terrence Brothers of Bournemouth, and it was worked as a fruit and vegetable truck. Present owner Mr. Molam of Dorset since 2017. Well, what a very nice little truck these are. So if it's not diesel powered, it will be powered by, it'll either have a Perkins diesel, Perkins P6, or it'll have the Humber Super Snipe petrol engine in there. And it's an incredibly nice little vehicle, quite an unusual example. 1956 Land Rover Series 1 now, and this is the breakdown track. You can see a very capable little vehicle. It's the 80-inch again, I think. I don't think it's an 80, oh, it might be an 86. And it's the 56, 1956, but very capable little vehicle. And it's just right. Now, Mr. Outram from Hertfordshire has brought that one along. It's absolutely right for the period. There's nothing on there which is at the wrong time. Beautifully presented. 233, and that's the Land Rover, 88-inch. And you can see it's a 4x4 response team with this one, with the original 2.2 and a quarter litre petrol engine. Mr. Monk Summers from Dorset. Now the first of our continental exhibitors here away from Holland, they're just to be with us, and this is completely restored, beautifully restored vehicle, all the history of it, is there on display with the vehicle if you catch it in the display area. Mr. Bonsall from Hertfordshire now. Mr. Bonsall brings us the Ford D series, and this is the, he's got a tractor on board as well now. We're going in for heavy haulage with this one today, but nice example there of the 1969. 1961 Austin A35. And this particular van, you can see it's fitted with windows and seats. You missed the purchase tax, and you've got a very nice little vehicle. And here's an example of the Austin A35 with the approved factory condition, approved rear seat and brake doors in steam fair. And this was one of a selection of vehicles, one of a contract that were actually built as right-hand drive in the first place, and it was an export contract which never went where it should have done and ended up working for the Cadona amusement contractors in Scotland. Owned now by Paddy Brennan from Southern Ireland. 1963, everything else, let alone the hydraulic crane on the back. That's Mr. Smith from Dorset. Now the Scammell Crusader. Certainly a hard-working vehicle, a 6x4, that means it's a six-wheeler but four-wheel drive, so the two axles on the back are the driven axles. And this was previously owned by the MOD. The present owner bought her in 2007, restored to civilian heavy haulage specifications. Mr. Wood from Lancashire. And now never designed for heavy haulage, this one, but designed to keep going and carrying. And now the 1970 Comma, and this is the Bluebird caravan on the 1970 Comma chassis, found in a field in poor condition. Even the roof fell in when it was moved. Well, a wonderful restoration, because looking at that you'd think it was a Bluebird just the way it had come out from the factory, and it's just done absolutely properly. And that's Reg Woodruff from Dover brought that one along. 1967 Bedford TK now, the ballast tractor. Look at the registration on this one, once seen, never forgotten. It was owned by Michael Oliver, and it's now owned by Dave Thorne from Dorchester. It was a curtain sider, later worked as a flatbed, and now a ballast tractor, as you see. And next year Dave's promised to bring him back his Scammell. He's been working on it for quite a number of years, and will be back on the road again for next year. So 1971 now, the Bedford TK Hiab crane recovery there. Started life as a horse box, which the current owner removed 10 years ago, and that's Mr. Gibbs down in Kent. 1948 Morris LC3. Now we saw the Morris C-Type earlier. This is really moving on from the basic C-Type, the LC3 in 1948. This one's been a star in quite a number of films, and is owned by Mr. Feltham from Hampshire. ERF 290 now, and that's the tractor unit just going past us. When we say a tractor unit, what we mean is a lorry that's designed to tow a trailer. And this is a ballast tractor, it's a weighted tractor unit which is designed to draw a drawbar trailer, but here we have an articulated tractor unit designed to tow an Arctic trailer. Originally a Shell Next vehicle, now owned by Mr. Gibbs of Swindon. Now the Atkinson Venturer, and I know we've had some trouble with one of the vehicles in the lineup. It's done 2 trips around one of the Scammells, and then it's broken down. And Mr. Gibbs from this vehicle, I know, has been helping out with technical advice on that one. And it's the 240 Gardner engine in this, the 72 Atkinson. Mr. Gibbs from Wiltshire, carting very, very heavy loads with the Wall of Death when it was in service. Now the 1940 Leyland TD7, and this is the famous Titan 8.6 litre Leyland engine. Withdrawn from service with Wallasey Corporation in 1952. Converted into a mobile control unit for Lancashire Police. Lovely little bus, isn't it? And such an interesting history. Saved from scrap in the 1960s, driven to Scotland to the Scottish Bus Museum in 2014. And that's Mr. Hearn from Devon. Now the Diamond T, that the Americans sent over for tank transporter use in the Second World War. They weren't articulated transporter trailers. In fact, they were drawbar trailers there. They've been fitted since with a recovery frame, as you see, for civilian purposes. And that's Blue Family from West Country. Now the 1986 CRF E10. Now we've seen an Atkinson Venture and one of the faster vehicles available for transport around the 1970s. 1973 this one dates from, is Mr. King in Hampshire. Still working around the rally fields hauling steam engines, undergoing restoration as and when they get a chance. 124 the Bedford TK flatbed, converted to a horse box and then back to a flatbed. And that's Mr. Gregory from Devon, and what a nice example it is for of the flatbed haulage vehicle of the period of 1976. 1972, the Land Rover Series 3 light van, where you see it's basically the pickup truck here with a little tiny canvas tilt on there. Was rescued from a hedge, now restored back on the road. Well done, that's the Lightfoot family down there in Cornwall. Now demonstrating his working capabilities, look. This is a Ford Transit, a Mark I again from 1972. Just a couple of years older than the Ford Transit Series 1 that we've seen already. And that's Mr. Cammy from Lancashire there. Mr. Cammy, Mr. Bus Service Recovery. Because that's where a lot of them went. This one has got fairground specification there, but in actual fact it went to forestry work after it was demobbed from the RAF, where it was a recovery tractor. And it's owned by Mr. Scarrett from Conway. The Leyland FG 550. Well, we saw a little FG that had been heavily breathed on a little bit earlier. Well, here's one which is more of a standard version. This is about the largest FG. You could get them with six-cylinder diesels, which this one's a 4 in there, or indeed a 6-cylinder petrol, up to about a 5-ton carrying capacity. But this is slightly smaller than that, and it's the little FG that we see, and we're very nicely presented for us this afternoon. Thank you. And he's driven it all the way from Leeds, which is a total of 280 miles. It's not far in comparison with some of the vehicles that we've got that have come from the continent and Ireland, but a vehicle of this type, still on its original 4-litre petrol engine, 6-cylinder petrol, a very noisy vehicle to drive, and a vehicle as individual as this, and rather rare, they've driven it 280 miles down here. And now the 1969 ERF LV right in front of us here. That's this lovely 6-wheeler, beautifully presented, new to EC Wards of Monmouth in 1969. And it's now gone from Wales to Scotland. Mr. Ward from Scotland brought this one down to be with us this weekend. Beautifully presented vehicle again. 1983 Volvo now. You're still awake in there? Yes. I see it's all too much for the dog. The dog's dozed off. And this is the 1983 Volvo. Previously owned by Mackay's Fruit Farm in Robertsbridge in Sussex, and that's Mr. Croft, another long-term exhibitor down at the Great Dorset Steam Fair. And the 1971 Comma Maxi Load now. This is only the second Comma we've seen today. Commas are always a little bit underestimated, but the Maxi Load was a beautiful vehicle, worked very hard indeed, purchased from a farmer in Wiltshire who used it for grain haulage, straight typical bodywork grain haulage there, the tipper with a single exit hatch there in the back hatch, would have worked directly from the combine harvester in the field, and that's Mr. Lodge, Dorset. And now the Honda Acting Pickup. Splendid example. You don't see many of these because they literally wore out, rusted out, and were thrown away. You wouldn't, it's something you could throw away, couldn't you? You could put it in the wheelbarrow and take it down on the weighbridge and get it weighed in. But this vehicle is completely original. It hasn't been restored. It's only done 34,000. Was quite a handful to drive, but a nice vehicle to drive after all is said and done. And it was sold on and from the Ministry of Defence, and Coney Lane Truck and Bus Recovery in Bridgewater used it for recovery. As you can see, it's owned by Mr. White in Dorset. Very nice. Never intended for such heavy work as the Militant, but still operated by Tom's coaches of Tony Pandy until 2006. That's Mr. Elliott from Dorset. Now 92, the Leyland Mastiff flatbed with the beaver tail there on the back. It's the Leyland Mastiff fitted with that lovely Perkins diesel engine, the V8 Perkins diesel, and this actually made it the fastest, or capable of the fastest speeds of the haulage vehicles of that particular range. They carry up to 10 tons very, very comfortably. Now used for transporting vehicles with the Bennett from Dorset. Number 47 now, the Daimler Benz, and another one of our Continental exhibitors who's driven all the way to be with us at Dorset. 1954 Ford Thames now, the G83W, and this is in your programme, new to ARC, worked in the London area, it thought, and then it was transferred down to finish its working life in Somerset, where it was working from a transport yard in Bruton. Now that's owned by Mr. Simpson of Somerset. Now the Land Rover 88-inch, and still a short wheelbase, but by 1978 they were that much longer. And it's Mr. Newman from Dorset there, Coast Guard and Marine Rescue Unit. Series 2A Land Rover from 1971, fully restored by the present owner in 1914. Better than the day it came out of the factory. Ooh, better than the day. Well, quite possibly. It's Mr. Townsend from Wales. 156, the 1940 AEC Matador. Purchased from the War Department in 1964. Embodied and equipped for use on the heavy haulage transport side by Wicks. And that's Mr. May from Somerset. And now, for sale if you want it. What a wonderful way to start in the preservation game. A vehicle already made up for you. And it's owned for 30 years by Ansels of Shillingston in Dorset. Mr. Herbert of West Sussex owns it at the moment. It's got an authenticated history. It probably would have been a short chassis tipper or concrete mixer in its original life, but there we are, 1966 boat. And you'll find it on display, and it'll have the phone number if you want to buy it. And now the 1952 there, so that could be driving your tipping gear. So there's the Leyland Comet, it's owned by Mr. Arnold from Dorset. 1961 Leyland Comet. Lift up and bail on and recover from and load from a trailer even if necessary. And now 164, the change of vehicles for program, the 1980 Bedford TK flatbed, owned by Dave Forrest. Unfortunately, Dave died 2 years ago, but he really wanted this vehicle to come to the Great Dorset Steam Fair. Well, Guy Dunn managed to bring it down for him. And that's what it was new. It went to Bass Charrington, where it was used as a tanker unit around the West Country. And now it's owned by Mr. Baker from Dorset. From Essex. And now the Land Rover Series